junglers in the entire league, and it's probably up there in terms of everybody's kill participation, because that's an absurd amount. It's just NRG are not transitioning those leads that he's getting the team. So I expect Santorin to be active. I expect Quas on a tank. I expect GBM on a high damage dealing mid laner, especially since we see these targeted bans coming out. So a lot is going to be left up here, right? Vladimir, Ryze, Azir, Victor, Cassiopeia. There's going to be at least one of those available.
The OQ Twitch ban, along with the Fiora that we see starting off. Team's taking a little bit of time, but definitely focusing on that top lane from the side of NRG. They give a lot of respect to Raker.
From second one, they're focusing on him with the ban, so it's not just in-game play at the moment. They're making sure that he can't have something that he's really comfortable on. He may get the Jarvan out, though.
That Vlad we see get hit. Mark was saying they might see some priority on that.
Yeah, it's still very powerful.
Right.
The goal of the changes was to augment his build path because he got too much AP for building HP. So people were building things like Proto Belt and seeing a lot of success, Spirit of Visage first. But overall, his damage is still rather comparable to where it was before. So not much shifted for him in actual power.
Zillion taken away from the Keen, so very targeted bans here. 2 to the top lane, 1 to mid coming from NRG, and a bit of a flex in the last one with the Karma being banned out. That brings up the Braum. We talked about the list of supports going around here, and it will be a fast priority lock-in on the Braum.
Yeah, and then the fast lock-in on the Rex side.
Of course.
Pretty much, like, Braum, in terms of high priority, don't believe he's up there. And I think NRG, their drafts have been very strange lately. They aren't banned. They're target banning, which is okay, but they're leaving a lot of OPs up to the point that everybody gets them. And they didn't even take a really powerful pick in the first rotation. It has to be something that they're planning for, because Braum, you usually see it as a counter to things like Sivir, Nami as well. But it's instantly just blind picked. Like, Ryze is still on the table too. Like, Reg may be able to play that as well.
Very, very true. Look at everything. Still have the Aurelia in that top lane to go for. We saw quite a bit of that yesterday. Also the Tahm Kench, the Talia, which are still far down compared to what has been left open here. Gnar we saw a little bit in Europe as well. Hasn't really seen much success as NRG has 10 seconds left. Now back and forth on their picks. Not leaving much time for APX to think about it once they lock in now. Looks like the Nidalee will stay, and they're actually going to go with the Gnar, so they've gone pretty much all topside here after that support pick.
I'm really confused because they are showing their mid laner and their jungler, so you are almost free to pick your mid laner here into the Azir matchup, and you pick your top laner, allowing Apex to get a counter pick. I don't completely agree with it, but NRG, they have been drafting in a rather odd way lately, and I'm interested to see what they end up rounding the composition out with.
Well, the Sivir means almost unstoppable in the engages. Still got to make them clean. You can't just say go and make things work. So they have a way to get into the fight now. They're going to have to work around a bit of that Gnar bar. Well, what's it kind of rounded out with here? What does GBM take to the Rift? Still has a Victor to go with. Quite AoE, can speed up, catch into the fight, get that Chaos Storm out in range.
Yeah,
kind of a champion he can utilize.
I assume it's the Victor, possibly Cassiopeia or Ryze, but I think Victor is higher up in the standings for him.
After 40 seconds, team?
Yeah.
The hover.
GBM is a crowd pleaser, but
Varus.
Okay, so Varus was considered a counterpick to Azir alongside Vel'Koz, but I feel like this composition with what you rounded it out with, like, this is a little bit of poke, you have some wave clear, you have Braum, this is all siege. Like, NRG just put it into the split push siege basket. Gnar is supposed to be able to get a favorable matchup and continue to split, and then everybody else's physical damage with Nidalee. So Santorin, you know, he needs to have a performance where he's a secondary carry, because Shrimp could stack armor, become this gigantic HP beast, and then you can't really deal with him.
They have 3 ways conditionally with the Emperor's Divide and the Ash Arrow, but Xpecial can always headbutt Quas out. They can get that Gnar out of there. There's, like you said, they have a chance to counter that top. So many things were easily picked by Apex here, it seems.
Yeah, and when you have a poke composition like NRG, hard engage is the counter, and they have an Ashe, they have an Alistar, they have ways to start these fights. So if Apex are in a position to push an advantage, you can see them do it. So these compositions almost have the same type of goal of sieging, wave clearing, having their top laner have an advantage. So this game is going to be very top lane focused. Whoever gets the lead there can run away with the game and cause multi-man pressure on the map.
Also a real test of strength game here. You always see when you pick up that poke composition, you fall behind early, things just go all haywire. So already NRG putting themselves in a tough spot to start off this match. We're about to get this game rolling, so now would be a great time to head over to Twitter. Let us know your predictions for NRG. Use the hashtag NRG winning for Apex. Use the hashtag APX win. Yes, you guessed it. We'll tally up those votes and show them on screen later. You can keep voting. You can change that vote. You can follow the bandwagon, be with your friends, or choose to run solo with the rest of them. We'll see what happens here. We're getting onto the Rift. NRG versus Apex. Santorin said in the opening video, I think it can be a 2-0. We'll see if they can put that in the record books.
It didn't go their way last time. Apex ended up winning that series.
Right.
And Santorin seemed nothing but confident that he had really ruined Ray's day. And it did leave an impression on Ray. Ray was talking about how, well, he hates playing against Santorin. The guy is really active early, but NRG just don't close the deal at the end of the day. And I actually want to clarify here as well, because like looking at the picks and bans, like these are all champions that are relatively meta, like near the top of the lists for pick rate. It's just the teams that they're on is a little bit strange, right? Like you have the Sivir on the same team as the Braum as opposed to a counter pick. You have the Nidalee also in tandem with these guys, where she's not really going to make too much use of the Sivir ultimate. It's usually like on the opposite side. Alongside Nazir maybe. But I think that these two compositions really rely on the top laners, and we were talking about range supports just to close this out. Xpecial went with the Alistar, and I feel like Xpecial's been the guy who
really
hasn't
the only
adapted.
one. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like he's very stubborn about this is like my best champion, my best type of champion. I'm gonna play this even if it's not necessarily the best thing right now. And he does make it work because he's a primary engager for the team, but Alistar has been falling further and further by the wayside with the range supports coming up.
Especially with the ultimate hit as well, not being as strong, having to level that up as well when you get to level 16 and 11.
If your support ever gets there too. These games usually don't last that long for supports to get to 16.
Hello, says Kiwi Kid.
It's the double lane swap here. Both end up in the same lane. So it's upside down standard. Oh, Thunderlord's Aurelia. Okay, that's really odd from Ray, but the mentality is he's not going to have enough auto attacks on Quas to stack up Fervor. You don't build enough HP for Grasp, so get the burst trade in. Q, E, auto, try to burst him out. Gnar has some of the lowest base stats in the entire game when he's in mini to compensate for his highest when he's in mega.
See if the change helps him out in that lane. We'll keep an eye on it. Remember, we were going to be watching what was the top and the jungle, which is now the duo lane. But we'll be sure to pan across and see the action as it goes down. Farming in the front of the turret. GBM obviously taking a few attacks from the soldiers. No worse for the wear there. As things all quiet on the home front here. Teams haven't tried to get any early deep boards in, so that's going to slow things down. We're actually going to see how these matchups play out as they would in standard lanes. Quas about to Gnar. We'll see how Ray plays it. And it's safe. Like you said, he's not going in for too many attacks.
Not even using like Corrupting Potion to keep himself topped off because he wants to stay lower as Aurelia for the Equilibrium Strike stun. And he sees that as his time.
A little bit of an oopsie.
Yeah, Quas read that though.
A little too fast.
Threw out the wallop. This game's going to be really interesting because NRG, they want to get Quas ahead and shut down Ray so that their team competition works, but they also need to close the game out relatively early. Their late game, Sivir does scale incredibly well. Varus scales okay. Nidalee sometimes gets shut down, but Apex, once they're able to build tank stats, Xpecial is able to soak up spears, soak up poke, and Shrimp is just going to build straight towards defensive items. You stack armor, well, you're going to have a really good time. Like, if you stack armor and kill Santorin in the fight, then you win the fight if you're Apex. So NRG need to get in the lead, push it, and close the game out relatively early.
Ray doing a very nice job getting control of the minion wave and being able to pressure Quas. Shrimp gets hit up. He tries to head over to Santorin's jungle. We just saw Shrimp give blue over to Keen. The normal Rek'Sai play we see. Being very selfless to the mid laner, and that should help Keen out quite a bit here. GBM, they're both level 4. GBM has definitely fallen behind in minions here, being pushed back to his turret.
Yeah, refillable potion and a long sword for himself. So some Varus's, you'll see them go for maybe like a tier sometimes. Sometimes they neglect that build altogether, and they go for longsword pots or even the corrupting potion, which I see a decent amount because you use them pretty mean amount of mana early on.
Seems like a really annoying lane, but not too bad for Quas just yet. While he's down in CS, it just seems like you really want to pull your hair out, but he's doing all right. GBM, however, they'd be losing gobs of hair at this point. Good thing Keen has a cleanse on him, because that would be probably a Ignite kill if GBM were any closer for the play. So he's back just before 5. That means Keen could actually hit ult range first, and that could get even worse for GBM in the mid lane. Gives him the time of day. Just misses, actually.
At least he gives him the time of day.
Just a nice thing. Nice done.
The routing from the junglers has actually been pretty standard at the moment. They're just going back and forth, and now Santorin's covering mid and then making sure that Keen can't get anymore. And that was I think that might have been completely blind. I know, we'll double check that.
Didn't have too much vision over there unless it was wearing off a mark. Shrimp backs as well. His presence isn't had, so probably see the lanes being a little bit safer. APX nicely warded. It was guessing?
Yeah, he guessed it.
There you go.
He thought that he hadn't have like walked up to the rafters. He was aiming for right over that that wall, because a lot of mid laners just kind of sneak right out of vision and then back, but he went a little bit further, but it still hit him.
Maybe get the Raptors to pull on him for a cheeky play. Tier back for GBM as he returns. OQ and Kiwi Kid not having too bad of a day here. Down a few CS, but it's obviously just playing against volleys, and Kiwi not wanting to shield the whole time. Both teams giving each other a lot of respect. 6 minutes in, no ganks yet from the junglers. They're letting the lanes fend for themselves here. Yeah. As of right now, it's kind of up to Santorin, you would say, to make something happen. All of his lanes are pushed, so he's got to find somewhere to go.
Yeah.
We're pushed, I should say.
I want to see how he handles the pressure from Shrimp on Rek'Sai, because this is Shrimp's most comfortable champion by far. Level down, though, and they're going to try to fight.
Flash for flash. The wallet goes on to Ray, but Shrimp still has movement here. They get back onto Quas. The flash knock up. Big Gnar giving him the HP necessary, but it's not going to be enough. And as they try to get Quas going, it's going to be Ray that starts off.
Exactly. You try to get him going, but Shrimp was stalking.
Yep.
And that was a little bit strange, because I think they knew that Shrimp was on that side. GBM looked like he had poked over there earlier. I'm not sure if he actually saw Shrimp, but he wasn't communicating at that point, and they didn't know that he was on that side. Yeah, they knew that Shrimp was on that side because he cleared a pink ward, and then GBM walked down.
Then hugged. So they pretty much felt like they could brute force that a lot faster. So props to the flash on Ray, which was instantaneous on Quas's entry into that fight.
Yeah, the execution was great. The instant flash there, the dodge out, and making sure that he doesn't get stunned, and then the turnaround, because Quas had the flash to start that play off. Yeah, GBM doesn't see him, but he put the ward down and knew that the Raptor got taken, and then it walks back. So he's like, oh, he's on this side. So he knew.
Yeah.
But Santorin, range, the great flash there from Ray to answer, and then Shrimp, they go on to Quas. Santorin still has flash, and then they blow him up. Just really well played there from Ray.
What a weight on Shrimp as well. Santorin was like, oh, he's coming down, we'll see. Made it look like he exited the top of Dragon Side, where Scuttle would also be. So a lot of mind games going into that one. Blue over to GBM. Hopefully he can give himself some breathing room now, being able to throw those piercing arrows out constantly. 8.5 minutes in, and they found themselves an 800 gold lead on the side of Apex. We haven't even had turret drops.
Yeah, and you have those standard lanes. People seem to enjoy watching standard lanes because people fight each other, but they're not as enjoyable when people don't fight each other.
I feel like they're almost slower now.
Kind of ruins the ideal scenario. But we are seeing the junglers being present regardless. And Ancient Coin actually picked up 4 special, so he may actually go the entire Talisman of Ascension line. which now has 45 armor on it.
Yeah.
Mana regen down, HP regen up. But the other big part is it has the Point Runner passive on it from Zerat Portal and Raptor Clip, which is it gives you 20% movement speed when you're near turrets or dead turrets.
Right.
And that's really good for sieges and breaking sieges. So that
Feels
means
great.
if the special wants to dive, he gets in there faster.
See, they're happy. Standard lanes are not. Quas again, getting a little bit of love from the side of Apex. Seemed like they really have vision of where Santorin is, so it doesn't look like they want to stay too long on that. They had a pretty good minion wave for it, but back off respectively. GBM back to mid lane now as things still very, very slow. Usually we've been seeing lane swap games, 2 turret takes, teams kind of stack the money up, get that first core item, and then it's a battle for Dragon and Herald. But here it's just kind of who can kind of break the cycle first, because it's the same thing, rinse and repeat for every lane right now.
Yeah, and there's just way more gank assistance in these lanes for Shrimp. So Shrimp can walk up to Aurelia's lane, can walk up to Keen's lane, Apollo Special, it's fine. Where Santorin doesn't bring his own to the lane. And you saw there that Quas a little bit unreliable without a point and click. And Shrimp's going to make a return gank here. The pink ward's littered on this map. The vision control from Apex is on point right now. And Quas, he has that sixth sense right now.
He knows he's low on bar. Siege wave was just coming in. There could be danger on the map. I mean, NRG doesn't have too many forward wards, so it's that point in the game where you're saying somebody's always in the brush next to me. Somebody's always where I think they could be, and that's the safest way to play at that point. Yeah. He heads out. Nice Krug steal.
Oh.
Yeah, but they are giving Ray a lot of love here in the bot lane. It seems like the jungle and top were the lanes we're going to watch and should be, as we have seen so far.
But in terms of watching lanes, NRG have almost no vision control, so they can't even watch where Shrimp is. Like, you're tracking Shrimp by walking to their jungle, but I don't think I've seen Santorin inside of Apex's jungle at all this game. Shrimp has been doing his challenger routine, where he lives in the enemy jungle and tries to track them by taking all of their camps. And says, all right, I cleared his right side, he has to be on the left side, and then if you go over there, then you're going to find him, or you know that when he hits the right side, he's either going to gank because he doesn't have any camps to take, or you're going to sit there and wait for him to come by. And then you're more powerful than him because you have all his experience. Like, he's keeping up with a Nidalee. Like, that's something to take note of, is that this Rek'Sai has stayed toe-in-toe with this Nidalee, whereas Nidalees are power farmers and are usually able to get far ahead. So it is actually, despite being even, rather impressive that it's going this way. I think he's also a little bit ahead now, too. Yeah, he is.
Moving strong. Bomby Cinder up first. Still has the machete. Yeah, he's just crushing down. Because he knows he's also going to be fighting as well. Getting up into Quas's face. He wants to do extra damage there.
I also love that his boot choice, first item, goes Ninja Tabi. Because, well, physical damage. It's only Santorin that poses a real threat. And then there's a little bit of percent HP from Quas. And then GBM also with his Blighted Quiver, but it's still not enough to really warrant building magic resistance early. You just build enough armor.
You usually see that the fast boot rush from the junglers that like to be aggressive early. We saw it on Reignover last night. He was
looking for a gank bot
up against the lead.
If his special just goes and Apollo gets the arrow after.
Gets the bop. Oh, this could be Meganar. This could be very, very bad for Apex. That's going to be Xpecial caught. Remember, it's charged up. Xpecial goes down. They will finally drop Quas. But like I said, they're going to have to work around the Narbar, and while they get the turret, they do lose one.
Yeah, Shrimp takes a lot of damage in return, and they might lose mid-turret for this. If they lose mid-turret, that's a big loss here, because this is a very important turret for them.
Yeah. They have Surge to give to GBM as well, or just Santorin to put on himself for attack speed, so they could put good damage down. Still early, though. Not enough damage to come in. But they have prepped that turret for a possible takedown within the next few minutes. NRG is going to work the top side of the jungle, knowing Shrimp was hurt. But they do hear him Void Rush back out, so they got to be careful what that situation is. They did drop the top turret, and nobody gets Dragon out of this. So I'd say great play by NRG, or coming out of that.
Yeah, I think NRG responded correctly. They put the right amount of pressure on there. And I'm actually interested in Quas's build as it develops more, because he has a Raptor Cloak. So we're looking at maybe his Rock Portal in the future to keep the split push against Ray going, to stop that. And this is interesting. Xpecial shouldn't be staying there. He has no business staying there after he uses his combo. The Alistar...
It's hit, wallop, knocked.
Yeah, little itty-bitty Alistar damage. Not going to help too much there because you had Ray coming up. So he overstayed. All you have to do is throw WQ. Maybe you throw your exhaust down like he did. I don't think it's necessary.
Tank outside that range.
And then you tank outside the range because the arrow follow-up from Apollo is going to be more than enough.
He's got himself stuck. Also props to Quas there as well, not letting Special get out. We make it sound like it would be easy to escape, but everybody's trying their damnedest to get the kills in front of them. 15 minutes approaching. NRG has evened up the goal just about with those last few plays.
The eventual lane swap.
Yep, here it comes. The Mountain Dragon still stands. Be pretty great for the team of NRG, actually even APX to get that.
Yeah, Santorin
comes up. They have good
soloing it right now. It's actually the easiest dragon to solo because its attack speed is so slow. It has the slowest out of all of them.
Come on, he's right there, man. He can hear you.
It attacks, I believe, once every second or once every 3 seconds. I'll check it again. It's once every 3 seconds. So it's incredibly slow. And all Drakes have a 7% of your HP as physical damage passive.
Right.
That's kind of hidden. And so it gets way less of that than the other Drakes, where they attack twice as fast. I believe Cloud Drake attacks once, has like a 1.0 attack speed, so it's really quick in comparison.
This is the turret prepped in middle, and this is where the poke team should be able to just kind of slowly pressure off Apex. However, in range to take quite a bit of poke themselves. As we see Quas gnawing out and throwing in the boomerang.
But this is really good by NRG. They understand their win conditions. They push out the side waves. They get those turrets. Now they have to go back and answer their side waves because Ray's pushing down bottom and top is pushing in naturally. Pick them up, regroup mid, try again because that turret's really low. And that's why I said that turret's so important for Apex because this is where they really want to keep their siege from being broken through. It's much harder to siege on those side lanes because you can have great flanks coming in, whereas down the mid, it's a really short lane. Your retreat is a little bit better. You can get to your turret faster. It's not a long lane.
More of that jungle invasion, Special just on the heel as well. Look at all this warding as well. Rift Herald will be Apex's.
Apex do work right now. Like
it might get a little contest here.
Oh, Special with the Ruby Sightstone. I was disappointed yesterday because nobody bought it, but nobody's really purchased it in Europe either. Nope.
This is one of those times.
Oh, here comes the TP from Ray. Ray wasn't there, but he needs this if they are going to pick it up, and he's trying to flank.
Ooh, I was going to say this is one of those times when you're going to wish you did something, and now they may wish they hadn't. That engage onto OQ and the rest of the team
should die.
Very, very strong.
Oh, man.
They're going to back this one off. Like you said, Keen Flash, ult is up as well with Cleanse, and low energy members could have meant a wipe there for Apex, but they hold off. Feel like they still want to control this Herald. They're pinging on it.
I felt like Keen should have gone for the hero play there. Maybe get some flashes, see what happens, dive in.
Just see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. You know, just try it. Or Special with his flash headbutt pulverize, see what happens.
This caster wave. That's going to be yummy.
It hurts, my brothers.
So Frozen Mallet with the Raptor's Cloak now for Quas as he continues to build up. Serrated Dirk on the Triforce for Ray as he gets bigger.
Now look for the Yomus. So Ray, all about killing people. It's not usually about the split pushing, but he will have a decent amount of damage for that as well. I believe the armor penetration now works against turrets, so it will help him out.
Yep. On the side of Apex, even the top of NRG, we keep talking about the junglers in the top. We also look at for NRG, GBM and OQ. Two members you would expect to be stepping up. GBM definitely having a better split last season for himself in the mid lane as well here. As we see Apex taking up this Herald. But it seems like coming into this, the expectation of an OQ and GBM impact was much higher.
Yeah, people were expecting them to come in with pretty much superstar power, but it wasn't the case. And that arrow, Special's got. Gonna try to counter.
He goes right back.
Quas into his team.
Quas is gonna gnaw out now, and they're still gonna try for this fight. Emperor's Divide on 3 members of NRG, and that's the Zanyas. Here comes Ray for the cleanup. The sun is shining on Apex. And a double kill coming in for Apollo.
And Keen turning that around with the Emperor's Divide. That's the hero play I was looking for there. There's going to be a lot on his shoulders because this team, relatively low mobility like GBM, easy target to pick up. Sivir, OQ, easy target to get out of position. And just checking it. He's just checking it. Santorin, NRG's warding hasn't been that good, but I mean, he doesn't need wards if he's going to play like that.
So all these spears.
But in all seriousness, he
need more. Here, see this fight one more time. Special goes really hard.
Yeah, he does. It's really unexpected as well. Ulties, turns around, flash, pulverize, doesn't get GBM, gets Quas in. Quas shoves Shrimp and Apollo forward, so Apollo has to flash. Then the Emperor's Divide after the slide cubs 3 people in, and Keen correctly purchases the first item, Zhonya's. He got the Zerker's Greaves, and then he built the Zhonya's Hourglass, which is Fiendish Codex and now Seeker's Arm Guard. So he got it rather early on, a little bit less AP on that item, but still. Purchased it because the armor was the problem, right? Just stack armor and you're fine, and that was his goal. Pops it, makes the hero play less risky for him, which I think is really one of the best tools that he could have in this game, is that early Zhonya's.
I love the way that APX is going to be working this now. Shrimp takes Red down to 1. They give it to Ray, so Ray can continue to stick to his opponents and try to make their lives a living hell. Glacial Fisher just to the left. Keen almost wanted that fully, but it looks like the team called him off. He could have Emperor's Divided.
Could have Flash Emperor's Divided,
right,
GBM
maybe
in, right?
Just off GBM, though, is why he didn't.
Yeah. Don't know if they had a complete vision of Santorin, though, at the time, so you don't know if he's going to walk up and maybe heal him, things like that. And Keen doesn't have incredible damage output just yet, because he doesn't have the Gnasher's Tooth. So he's still waiting on that item. Stinger has less attack speed than it did before.
And this is where it gets tough. What do your options actually become as NRG now? You're a poke team that's slightly falling behind. What is optimal for you at this moment?
Well, right now, with the builds that they've chosen, they have to wait a little bit longer and try to siege, because Quas, he'll get his Rot Portal, he'll have kind of a natural split pusher for himself. But Ray is so powerful right now with the Rift Herald up. And GBM...
Where? Who?
Gone by morning.
Yeah. Blink and it's over. Keen goes in quickly. Takes down GBM. 34 seconds for him. Apex doesn't exactly have too much. Actually, yeah. Drake's coming up.
Yep.
They're going to go ahead and be able to take Mountain.
Another Mountain. They'll pick up their first one of the game. It's going to help them out as well, because you don't want that second one going to NRG. They would have been able to have some fantastic sieges, and this will help Ray in the split pushing. So, but going back to the point about his Rot Portal, when that's completed, Quas has something that kind of stalls Ray from pushing out, and then Quas wants the team fight more. But they also have a Rod of Ages, so naturally you're going to need some more time for Santorin's build to turn online. And it's a little odd because it's a build for NRG overall that's a little bit about that scaling, a little bit about delaying. They aren't going for the instant gratification of stats. They're going for the long con here. But their team comp, maybe it'll turn online if OQ gets big and he can just purchase Lord Dominic's Regards.
Also, Quas seems to be now kind of not stuck with the team, but they're choosing to keep everyone together. This has given Ray such a huge lead in CS. And Ray is crushing these waves down too, as Quas kind of farms them out. Takes longer to farm, they build up more, so Ray gets an even fatter wave than Quas is getting in the end anyways. Everything's working out for Ray right now. And the rest of the team's able to play a smart yo-yo defense in mid, not get caught by poke, not get sieged off. They still have this mid turret that took a lot of damage previously.
Yeah, and they aren't, like NRG, the flaw of their comp right now is they don't have long range engage, and they're playing like they want long range engage. Right? They aren't playing the poke game right now. They're playing fear the minions, hope they have an Ashe arrow. Like Ashe for NRG, like that's the way that they're playing right now, is that they have that type of champion on their team. Like right now, they should be going for damage on them. They should be hitting the turret with whatever range they have, but they can't because of the Ashe. The Ashe really puts a wrench in the plans because they can't walk up and auto at the turret.
Double knock, triple knockup almost as well.
Like, so Apex drafted really well in terms of counter engage.
Making sure that nobody can put their foot in the door. Just swing it open. 23.5 in, and it looks like NRG again gives up on that mid turret until another time. And they're being actually pushed on their own. OQ to the top to handle that janitorial duty on the wave. And it looks like with Kiwi Kid and GBM, they're able to poke off the wave. They have good clear themselves, but are also taking a little bit of damage every so often.
Ray just made Quas take the long way around. Saw him enter the bush, but they also know that Ray is there 2 levels up as well. And now Quas isn't catching things like the top wave.
Yep.
They're just starving the jungle on top of it. And so Ray, I mean, Apex, their strategy has been to play to Ray. NRG tried to answer it by having Santorin gank that lane, and then boom, Apex get a kill for Ray, and he's set up for the game.
Santorin's still a level up over Shrimp somehow. Ray is 2 levels over Quad, so Santorin has been trying to farm up and just do what he can for the team here. It's just the kills are not coming in for NRG, so that extra gold that Apex is seeing is not in the pockets for items and core stuff on the side of NRG. Rod of Age is stacking up here for Santorin, so he has a way to get bigger without having to push himself too hard. And a few more items. The Spirit Loops in for Quas, so he has a bit more mitigation towards Akeem.
What I would really like to see from Santorin would have been the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Because your Runic Echoes also applies it, so all you have to do is throw your spear down the lane. If you hit minions, then it blows up and it splashes onto the champions. But then that allows your follow-up from your team, your Piercing Arrow, more slow, easier time of actually engaging and kiting and stuff like that. So I would have liked to see that item instead, but the Rod of Ages, he's going for that for just so he has the mana to continue to poke out. It's a different choice because usually you'll run out in the siege because you're giving your blues over. And Runic Echoes does not work against minions, so you have to hit a jungle camp to get it back.
Nash
is finally completed.
Nash is finally completed. OQ goes for the Phantom Dancer and the Essence Reaver as well.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny how Zerker's Greaves for Azir, I believe it was just a pretty small buff to them, but everybody started picking them up again. 80 carries are back on it, dropped Lucidity boots and all that. But Azir was a huge benefactor from that. A beneficiary. Boom. Got it right. Eventually.
Found my brain thesaurus.
So he actually benefited a lot from it. We'll just say it that way. It actually is more effective DPS than the Sword Shoes, because you'll get those extra hits off, and just getting an extra hit is better than having like maybe 10, 20 more damage on a single hit.
Game has stalled out quite a bit recently, Zyrene. Something both of these teams will have to, worry about once they start moving up, if they find them for themselves in that playoff spot. Battling with those 5th place teams right now isn't going to be this easy. You're not going to get this much time between objectives, between turrets, this much stall in a game.
League has gotten very fast for the top teams. We are seeing Immortals and TSM both destroy games in pretty much 26 minutes, 27 minutes. And the only times they stall out is when the risks that they took keep backfiring, or the other team is matching them in the number of risks that they're taking.
I don't know. At least they don't make our Nexuses out of whatever the EU Nexuses are made out of, because they don't die ever. So at least ours are a little softer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the NA Nexus. Oh, they found Ray. They say, see Ray, kill Ray, but nope. Cloudbreak up in 10 seconds. Apex in prime position to get it. But NRG want to have the inside track on mid lane. Ray goes back down to bottom.
If they can open mid, it'll be so good for kind of the rest of the game, the bigger picture of what they're doing. Finally get it down. It's been there for quite a while. They were hitting it at about 15, 18 minutes in. And now it's going to be NRG with a bit of a window to put some more wards inside that Apex jungle. It's been dark for quite some time. Apollo still has arrows to fire off, so those wards will help NRG maybe avoid some of these engages.
Yep.
Not the dragon, though.
Yeah.
Apex in control at the moment.
Pick it up.
And at number 2 goes over to them. So we have a cloud and a mountain on Apex as NRG continues to put a security web in their jungle. I think it's only Kiwi.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to do it, but nobody's coming with me, guys. Where are you?
That red buff's coming up, so he wants to hang around it. Keen's here, too. It's going to go down really quick, and Shrimp gets it.
I actually don't think they actually just hit it, but they didn't see they were far-sighted right away, so vision for Apex there was very good.
Yeah, and Apex, their vision has been great all game long, and now the Talisman of Ascension completed for Special alongside the Ruby Sightstone. So Talisman of Ascension is a 60-second cooldown. It's going to go down to a 48-second cooldown with the Ruby Sightstone, and that's really the combination you look for, because Ruby Sightstone is really cheap now. I believe it's 1,600 down from 1,800. It's 500 HP. It's actually a substantial amount. And now that Talisman of Ascension has armor on it, it multiplies that in terms of effective HP. And against this team that is basically mostly physical damage from NRG, it's a great buy. And you get to run them down. You have Point Runner and all that stuff. And by the way, Point Runner's, sorry, it's higher than that, 20%. But let's see what happens to Kiwi.
Oh, he takes point on that one and goes down very quickly. APX is just kind of hovering around this area. We saw Kiwi being the only one to check and put wards down in the bottom area. There, it cost him his life.
Looking for the damage on the turret. He's going to go Duskblade next as well. So Ray is just... I feel like
another serrated.
I feel like he builds the same thing on every champion. It's like, I just want to kill your AD carry in 2 seconds, or I guess half a second. 2 seconds will give you too much time to react.
He's got that special client that only has 4 items in the store. So you can't even make a mistake.
He's got special item builds for every champion. It's just the same thing.
Copy paste, copy paste. Well, it's working for him right now.
Special.
Rinse and repeat for the top lane has been the story of Ray here. An autobiography written by the man himself on Aurelia. And a blue buff steal here. So NRG really not even controlling their side of the map. Have to really wait for an error by APX right now, and it doesn't look like they're going to be ready to make one anytime soon. Guardian Angel on Shrimp, so if they do even make an error, they have a second chance.
I feel like this game, despite it being just 5,000 gold for Apex, it's a little bit deceptive because this is going to be a very big lead in terms of what items were purchased to overcome. You have the Lord Dominic's regards on GBM, so you'll get through a little bit of that armor, but nothing for OQ just yet. And Shrimp may become unkillable very shortly. And then even on top of that, it's just...
Look at the level difference as well. 17 to 15. Ray's going to be the first 18 in the game. 16s haven't even been hit by NRG, so that's second level alt here for Apex. Then Arrow could really mean bad news bears if NRG walk a bit out of line.
Yeah, OQ will have to be like frontliner and soak it with his spell shield.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking is NRG has the run, they get the on the hunt, and Apex would have a hard time engaging. So Apex is fine just slowly pushing NRG back into their base.
The Baron, it's definitely going to help.
When you actually don't have anywhere to run.
Yeah, Apex are 100% fine with having this split push pull out and work because Ray, he's shown that he's quite adept at split pushing, then grouping up for the swift fight. Arrow went by, it whiffed.
Meganar coming up.
Looking for the flank here, but actually just going to walk around and get a little bit of chip damage. And Apollo purchases the Bloodthirster third item because he saw he got chunked out by GBM. Sometimes you'd want to have like Infinity Edge and things like that, but he just wants to be able to sustain against the siege. So Apex are building really appropriately this game. I don't fully endorse Ray, but you know, he does his thing.
If Ray clears this top wave, he could have a 100 CS lead over Quas right now, since Quas is kind of... Oh no, Quas went to bottom. He'll be all right. I thought he was still clearing minions with the team. But it's been tough. Like I said, Quas, it almost takes him twice, 3 times as long to clear these waves. Ray is just going to Blade Surge around to be done with that and back up with his team very, very soon.
Yeah, and we talked about how this best of 3 for NRG gets them tied with Apex. It also ties them in head-to-head, right? And that helps a lot. If Apex win this game, though, they put themselves 2 games up, but realistically, they're 3 games up because of the head-to-head being the first tiebreaker, and that puts NRG really far back in the standings in terms of potentially making it to playoffs.
Very true. These teams both came in saying, yeah, middle of the pack a little bit, and not even really meeting their expectations. Must be very hard on the mental game that they come in each week with. Like we said, Apex had to shake off the most recent loss of P1. NRG still trying to find a footing here.
Oh, yeah.
And with the thought of the split already at the halfway point, the end comes much quicker. So you're very right. These teams jockeying for that 6th spot position.
Yeah, basically.
Scary thing.
If you lose here as NRG, you are back 3 series with 7 to play.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance.
There's a chance. There's not a chance for GBM. He gets taken down first and fast. Apex is on the turret. They're going a little past it, but they want to stay coordinated here. and they keep it together. 5-man standing tall. They back out. It looks like Special was very close to going down. So getting out in the nick of time, Apex will return for the next turrets, but a Dragon is up, and they'll take number 3.
Yep. Straight to the Cloud Drake, and Quas looked like he had the opportunity to turn that around near the end, but it was a little bit too risky there. He did jump in, didn't use his flash, had his Narbar full. But with GBM already down, they decided not to take the risk.
Yep.
And as the game reaches this point where you're 10K behind, I feel like you have to pull the trigger to at least get a chance of coming back. Ooh. GBM gets blown up behind Kiwi Kid, who has his Unbreakable up. And then Quas right here has the opportunity to jump in, to flash, to throw people against possibly the dead turret, but they don't take it.
It's like a bounce house when Apex engages.
Yeah, and also he didn't even go for the Zrot Portal second. He bought the
bought
the Raptor Cloak just so he could avoid Ray with the Point Runner passive and run around his turrets and try to be safe. But I don't know if you're safe from this dead man's play to Rally.
Whoa.
But I guess so if you flash away from his flash and your Sivir ulti and your Sivir.
Instant fear out of the flash. OQ keeping himself alive. That would have been a 4-level difference in that fight. OQ actually just leveled up as he continues to clear out a few waves in the bot lane. And now it's going to be Energy getting spread thin here. We knew it was going to be very tough with the poke composition. If they fall behind, now that they have, it's going to be even tougher to defend. Finding a way here to slowly hold at the outside of the base. The inhibitors haven't really taken too much damage, but it's every single time. Apex is not giving up here, and the stranglehold is only getting stronger.
Yeah, with things like Void Staff completed for Keen, and almost a whole item up here for some of these members, especially that top lane. We're seeing almost 100 CS for Ray above Quas. He'll pick up some though, but it's still the advantage that Ray has right now is not just against Quas, it's against the entire team. Like, now he's causing multi-man pressure where you have to answer him with more than one person, and then that makes the fight skewed in your favor on the opposite side of the map.
You can't even take the fight to the teleporter as well. Ray is not giving them a chance to take back that fight. The pressure that Apex is holding is very nicely balanced back and forth between their aggression and then saying, all right, we'll give you room.
They give him some breathing room every now and then. It's kind of just play it by the book once you have a lead. Once they started Ray on that snowball from the first game. So Apex has been playing it really well. They put a turret in mid, they get prepared for Baron. Baron up in 10 seconds. They may just bait it, or they may trust their damage with the Mountain Drake and burst it down.
We do have to bring up the point from earlier as well, though. We said that these teams have to kind of work on the late game and when closing happens. At this lead, Apex should really be inside the base. Now they're going to try for Baron. This may put them inside it, but they've had a lead for quite some time.
Yeah, especially with items like the Talisman of Ascension for Special.
Right.
You imagine he could just pop that. Apollo can keep fishing for arrows. Because Ray, he does things like this where he's just going to try to force it.
You mean those? That's what they wanted. Quas is going to gnaw out. He's going to be able to shove everybody back with the ultimate if he can even hit the ground, and he jumps way out of it. He's not going to have this Gnar out again as this fight goes on, so this is going to be it. He does flash in for that one. He gets the hit that he wants, and it looks like they're going to be going for it. Special's not going to get hit by the turret. The Locket of the Iron Solari keeps him up for just a second longer. It's only Special that's fallen now, so Energy's fighting with 5. If they can get back to home guard, they may be able to stop the inhibitor from going down. And Apex have been waiting so long because it doesn't seem like they can break the base. It's actually going to be the Baron not letting them through, and Energy picking up a few kills for themselves.
That was incredibly confusing there from Apex, but Energy, they pull it out. They start pushing back down the mid lane. These are 50-second death timers for Shrimp. His GA is rendered null and void, and they're going to pick up a turret, possibly an inhibitor turret too, because their wave clear is Keen, and if he shows up, Chain of Corruption is back up. He does have Cleanse, he does have Flash, and he didn't even use his Emperor's Divide in that last fight. And that was the confusing thing for me, is he doesn't even prevent his team or help his team. He was just focused on doing the damage, and it looked like a split call there. See that again here. Chain of Corruption goes down.
The wallet flash.
Flash throws 3 people in, and then Keen is just whacking the turret over and over and over again. So he's trying to kill the turret, backs up, throws down his Q, Special dies, and then Apollo ends up getting picked off here by a piercing arrow from GBM. it's kind of in the chaos of everything, just barely tags him. And that's what allows them to re-engage. Shrimp was not expecting that and gets picked up. And then his GA gets him nothing.
So the second chance didn't help.
Nope.
APX not able to push through hard enough to get the inhibitor. It doesn't look like they'll stop, though, with the open inhib. Obviously something to fight around. Baron still on Keen. Doesn't look like we will have an Elder for another minute, and that looks like APX may be able to get some finishing touches on. They've stopped the split push here, which actually allowing this energy team to pile together is allowing this poke composition to actually put down the damage they need.
You don't make any progress.
So Apex has changed the strategy here, and it's not working for them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't make any progress when you're not splitting, especially with the advantage that you had on Ray. As soon as Ray grouped up and that fight went towards energy, I mean, you're level 18 on Apex's side. So as you approach 6 items like Ray has already, you're not going to get any stronger. They're just going to start catching up to you. And I do have to mention that I talked about how the physical damage from energy is a big thing. They do have % HP magic damage on 2 members of their team, and if Santorin is on point with his, then the magic damage becomes a real thing, and you have to get that locket, which they have. Like special.
Nice attack. The Glacial Fisher for the arrow. Oh, it gets bounced on. Apollo gets hit by OQ's attack from long range, and he's going to be right in the midst, bouncing blades back and forth to the rest of the team, crowd controlling everybody in place. The priority targets are down. Keen had to flash for that and shift forward. His ult's still up, but Energy is just turning this game on its head. And it seems like Apex just let that happen.
Yeah, screw the dragon.
About it.
Go mid.
Yes.
Immediately start pushing down the siege comp. If you can get super minions in your favor, this dragon may be yours the next time. You just need that gold right now. The dragon's 2 minutes. It's not going to matter. Energy are going to push back. There's 20 seconds on these death timers. They're gonna get this turret. They're going to get an inhibitor. Can they get more, though? Because Keen is still armed to the teeth with his ultimate. I don't know if they can push through.
Well, the Mountain Drake, kind of a saving grace here, giving them, they probably had enough damage anyways, but making that happen faster so they don't get taken down.
That's nice.
Then the Elder can be something they go for, but at points they were down 4 levels in this game across the board, and they held out. The game obviously still going. It's anybody's, but Energy putting themselves right back in this one.
Right back in it, Riv. Absolutely.
Still 7K down, but they bought themselves a lot of time to work with right now.
Exactly. They have a super minion wave coming down the mid lane. This is Keen on the top side of the map. I don't know what he's doing on the top side of the map right now. There isn't really anything for him to get. He's not a teleport user. That ricochet jumps across everybody, and that exhaust to keep Apollo close finishes him off. Shrimp tries to go after GBM, flash knockup, but also gets stunned right at the end there as he knocked up. It looked like it was the final hit there from Braum. I have to see that again because he didn't get to react.
Pretty giant wave in the top lane, still going to be bolstered by more minion waves on the side of Apex, so that will have to be cleaned soon here. Apex may be able to use that kind of off the ball if they work back down mid lane. Energy will have to act on it. 9-9 now as Energy picks himself back up, dusts themselves off, are 1 turret short and an Elder Dragon up. It's still on them. We'll see if they can utilize it well here. That 100 CS lead from Ray, still trying to keep it up. He hit it at one point, but Quas is doing his best to stay in the game and be that tank that Energy needs right now.
Yeah, and I love his build too because
got there.
A lot of people will just go for, you know, Frozen Mallet into Randuin's and stuff. He went into Banshee's Veil first, realized, you know what, I'm more about this team fighting. I'm more about getting my ultimate off. Like, that's Quas's goal, is get his ultimate off. He's going to try to absorb a CC spell with the Banshee's Veil, and he's going to try to stay alive with the shield from Sterix to make sure that he can get his Gnar and defend his team, who is mostly squishy, save for him.
It's basically their version of the Alistar. He Gnar's out, and he's longer as well, longer amount of time on that Unbreakable Will.
Yeah, and that's his job at this point, is just to throw that ultimate, make sure that he's good. And Xpecial, I mean, he's fairly squishy as well, save for the fact that he's got that ultimate, the Unbreakable Will. Yep. Unbreakable Will, and then we also have Unbreakable. I never noticed that before. The Braum Shield.
You can't reuse names.
Man, we got Crescent Strike and Crescent Slash. Like
Crescent Rolls.
I wish, man. We need a patissiere.
Pantheon.
Ah, you did it. We did it. We already did it. I didn't know it. Anyway, Baron being set up here by Apex. Apex have a Mountain Drake. This will go down fairly quickly with an Azir. It's going to get chunked out. They aren't even going to get there.
Oh, my word. He throws it. It's far off. Kiwi Kid's the one in the front. Glacial Fisher doesn't really hit anybody. He pops up Shrimp, but he's just waiting for his Guardian Angel to go off. Nobody can get in with Quas. Half health before Gnar comes out. The turn, wallop, and throw.
He has Link, he has Flash.
And now look. Disengage, let that Gnar bar wear out, and that's exactly what NRG needs to get back in this one. Special, the rest of the team playing this one much smarter than the last time. They're in on Quas, very low. It looks like he could go down, but he gets a good hop out. Santorin in and out as the team kind of has a miscommunication there. Not looking good for the poke team. They're the ones getting poked out.
Yeah, they actually did a really good job of getting Shrimp out once, getting Apollo and Xpecial to back. Like, if you look at the HP bars right now, it is completely in favor of NRG. Apex, though, oh, he's going to try to save Ray.
Shrimp's definitely hitting down here. Ray is going to do what he can before Shrimp goes down, but it's not much on either side of the coin. They both fall. Assists across the board for the entire team, and a 60-second timer on both Ray and Shrimp now.
Not necessary there. Ray, over-aggressive this game. That build that he has, he is squishy. He is incredibly squishy. He doesn't have the same type of advantage as he thought he did. And now, NRG, they're going to try to push up the middle. 40 seconds on Shrimp, 40 seconds on Ray. They have to wave clear this with their Baron buff as well to try and stall, but it's double AD. We'll see what happens here, because NRG are going to try to go for the jugular.
Backs against the wall the entire game. Whenever a poke comp is down, you do not regularly see that composition come back and take a victory. And right now, NRG's trying to do just that. The engage on the first Nexus turret starts to deter the attack, and GBM and the rest of the team are forced to turn away, practically limping out of the base of Apex. 10 seconds on Ray and Shrimp mean not too much action from Apex can follow this, but NRG are making huge strides in this game with each attack.
They're going to TP. Ray's going to try to TP in and try to finish people off, but he TPs to the opposite side.
I don't see any Void Rush either for him to get to that's going to be on the bottom. Like you said, top side for both of the TPs.
He's got Youmu's as well. He can boost himself up. He's going to try to pick up some kills here and try to end the game.
Oh, Santorin first. No, goes for the 80 carry. Transcendent Blades right through GBM, trying to finish off OQ as well. Concussive blows stops Ray in his tracks on that Winter's Bite, but they are going to get the double kill onto Ray. They may have been down in the same situation now defending their Nexus, but now they get a chance to give NRG their own medicine, entering the base 5 strong against 3 members of NRG.
Yeah, they have a minion wave here as well. Are they not going to push it?
It's slowly creeping in. It looks like they are hesitating on the backs. They're not trying to front.
Oh, they hit Quas.
Quas gets a jump. He's actually about to Gnar out as well, so they got to prioritize correctly.
Santorin!
They go right onto Santorin when they thought eyes were going to be onto Quas. They do not get him to go down. Santorin can go heal up and get back. Ray pushing past the turret, able to take one down. But now the GA popping for him. Ray gonna get sliced down by Santorin in the swipe, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Apex coming back even stronger on their take. And you can see the size of relief after a very long game. Apex take game 1.
And Apex, after losing to Phoenix 1, and then having this struggle here, it has to be that sigh of relief, because this separates them even more from those bottom 3 teams. Echo Fox, P1, now sitting 4 matches back. And then NRG, for all intents and purposes, because of the tiebreaker, is now 3 back from you with 7 left to play. They're almost safe from those bottom teams. And CLG is really the other team that's contesting them for that last playoff spot, which, you know, I'm talking about it now like way in the future, because we don't know what's going to happen with Envy and those guys, but they look to be in form in the top 5.
Absolutely. We actually saw Envy as well kind of play quite well against Immortals last night, but then it's just kind of went out the window as soon as they made one of those mistakes. They find it, they give the other team such an opening, and then they're able to take it. Something we actually, again, didn't see in this game. There were many openings to be had. There was a 5, 6, 7,000 gold lead at one point, but I feel like there was way too much hesitation from Apex. Like we said, the top teams are going to abuse that.
Yes, they're absolutely going to abuse that. They see a window of opportunity. They're going to take it, and honestly, like, there were a lot of windows here that were not taken, a lot of opportunities. And when you watch this game, I'm sure the analyst desk will break it down as well, that these teams, their map movements are okay, but they're really sloppy. Their fights are honestly all over the place as well. And I think that NRG actually played some of the fights better. It was just pulling the trigger on some of those abilities.
There was
the big thing.
The one time we saw APX just completely say, oh, split push, we'll throw it out the window. Let's try to fight in mid. And then, like you said, the analyst desk has much to talk about. With game one, let's check in with Dash at the analyst desk to break down that win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Apex scraping by the victory there just because of the craziness that happened at the end of that game. And what a wild game it was. Very back and forth, different times, fairly even or within a minimal gold lead for the majority of it. But I want to dive into Champ Select here first because NRG, I am not impressed with the drafts that are coming out of this squad.
I really didn't like the Varus pick. You saw how the game played out. He didn't have cleanse. He didn't win lane against Azir. I don't even know if you're supposed to lose lane against Azir, but it just felt really bad.
From my understanding,
it's a counter pick, right? I mean, that was the idea back when Azir and Varus were played. We're both top tier. People pick Varus into Azir because you can farm and poke safely.
Yeah, it's like a little close in the initial levels, but then once you get, especially off your first back, you just start being able to shove in the Azir with constant Qs and poke him down. You should be able to force him out of lane or set up dives, do these kinds of situations, and we didn't really see any of that. It was swayed a little bit because with the Rek'Sai pick, Azir was able to pick up blue buff off the first jungle clear, which obviously helped him bully out GBM pretty heavily, but it still never really seemed to have the impact you would want, especially when you're compromising your whole comp by making it all AD.
Well, that's the thing. If you pick the Varus and you go ahead and stomp the mid lane with it, then I'll forgive the pick a little bit more, but given the fact that the rest of your composition is a Sivir and a Gnar does very minimal magic damage off of his 3 proc, and then you've got a Nidalee, who isn't going to put out a ton of AP damage.
She's like at most an assassin-y AP,
right.
not like...
And so therefore, you've just pigeonholed your team comp into very AD heavy. On the flip side, you've chosen this, since Sivir and Varus were your final rotation, you've already seen Alistar and Rek'Sai picked up. That should be enough for you to know that you shouldn't pick double AD into it.
The only exception is if Corki was still in the meta, that way you'd have some AP, but in my opinion, it's really not worth it because what Aurelia and Rek'Sai can do is they just stack armor and HP, and you got like no AP damage anywhere except for Santorin. That means you're expecting Santorin to like super hard carry.
Right. And that's just, and that's just too much to ask of him, right? I mean, he's a good player. He has gone off before, but that shouldn't be your game plan coming in as we expect this guy to go off. That I like the point of the Aurelia and the Rek'Sai, even the Alistar have the option to just build health and armor at this point. However, interestingly, we saw Aurelia go for something a little bit different, recognizing that she already had 2 big tank lines, decided to go for more of an assassin type build and having that Duskblade along with more armor pen. Apex on your screen now.
Cop was in the background there, actually. I just saw.
Really?
I had seen him on Twitter hanging out with them. I didn't realize he might be assisting a longtime friend in St. Vicious.
There you go. Maybe,
with coaching
making the jump over to help them out. But I want to go back to this point. I mean, the Aurelia here, I think, an interesting adaptation and build because either could have worked. You could build both health and armor and just be a tank, but he went for that assassin build knowing that if I just eliminate either the Varus or the Sivir in a team fight, my job is done. They've only got 180 damage dealer left.
I think the draft was just done so badly just with the Varus that he could have built either and it would have been fine.
Right. You have 2 tanks already, so if you want the more Assassin Aurelia build, that's fine. If you want to go for a more stable, I'm not going to die Aurelia build, that was an option as well.
All right, let's dive into some gameplay, though, because this was a fairly long game, and as we mentioned, very back and forth, fights going both ways. So I want to start 18 minutes into the game. 3 for 1 in the mid lane. Keen coming up big with an Azir ult here.
Right, so you see the Ashe initially misses, and NRG looks to turn it back with the Varus ult, then Xpecial goes in with his, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty good until Azir has this really nice engage. And you see the early Zhonya's pickup by Keen come into play here, which gives Ray enough time to come in and start cleaning up as well. So it's just a really kind of one engage followed by the other engage, but what really turned it there was Keen's awesome Azir sec.
Absolutely.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. It picks up the 3 kills that they need, definitely secures them a bit of an advantage in the mid-game. Want to move ahead to 37.5 minutes into the game. Apex picking up an inhib, but losing 2 members in the process. So again, very even trades between these 2 teams in that regard, where one advantage is gained in one area, but they have to give something up somewhere else.
Yeah, this is kind of just an overextension by Xpecial. He gets engaged on here, and rather than blowing his ult and kind of backing off, he's willing to keep walking forward and go for that pulverize. And I can't help but think it would have been better if he just ran and they kind of sacked that situation because it was very messy.
Right.
And as a result, this ends up getting turned. They try and re-engage once again. And it's just going to open up energy to get punished a little bit, or be able to punish a little bit more. Because they chase down the rest after this fight and get some turrets off the back of this play.
It feels like Xpecial's like being the scapegoat of the team and forcing plays a little bit too much. I can understand the thought process because, you know, you're against Varus poke, Gnar poke, and Nidalee poke. So you got to be the one to like go in and start everything up. And he has the right idea, but I think it was executed, and maybe it could have been executed a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we jump ahead to 40 minutes into the game. We got a 4-for-1 over near the Dragon Pits. We're going to roll this one out once again. There's going to be lots of stuff traded off the back end of this fight. As we're far enough into the game, the death timers are pretty significant.
And the thing I want to point out here is Keen was topside clearing a wave when they had Ray with TP. I don't know why you would send your top TP-less mid laner top to clear a wave, and it just sets up this situation where NRG knows they don't have anything to be scared of because this big Azir is not around. So they just chase them down out of their jungle into the Dragon Pit and pick up 4 kills here, and Keen finally shows up. What's he going to do? Right. And from there, it actually gets really scary where for a minute you're like, NRG might come back and win this game. They get an inhib off that, and it's a situation where even though their comp is worse, APX isn't playing well. NRG's comp is worse, but APX isn't playing well. So it looks like anyone could take that game.
Exactly.
It's like one of those things when Santorin said, like, if you had like a top laner who didn't really speak that much English, that's where communication comes in, and that's where it could tilt you a little bit. But it's really rough to keep the team together after something like that, especially with like such a high tension game that turned into.
Yeah, very much so. NRG on your screens now, probably discussing, you know, their strategies for game 2, making sure that they keep their heads high because they were close to picking up that victory. We saw them on Apex's Nexus turrets. If that Gnar ult had hit Keen on the Azir there, possibly the game ends. Keen smartly avoids it and is able to, you know, turn things around and then race down and finish out the game. But a very back and forth game speaks to perhaps a 3-game series, at least a competitive game 2. I want to know from you guys with the 2 teams switching sides, moving ahead to game 2, NRG, what do we want to see out of them besides no Varus in this second game?
If they do go Varus, then just make sure you have the AP source. I don't think Nidalee alone is a reliable amount of AP source to like just have that amount of mixed damage, because the option was there to stack the HP and armor, and regardless of the build, like I think that could have been a really, really hard thing to deal with.
All right. Do you have something?
For me, I think Apex is a little bit stronger as a red side team. They have a couple people who like having counterpick in both Ray and Keen has a little bit of a weird champ pool. And I think that moving to red side for NRG could benefit them in that they're going to have a chance to counterpick more as well. And so I think that if Quas can maybe get something going for him, we've seen him be able to control some games, so that's what I'm looking for.
Speaking of which, that mid lane matchup is an important one, and Keen picked up our player of the game honors in the first game, having bullied out GBM. Of course, we did mention the fact that the blue buff handed over from Rek'Sai was helpful in that endeavor, but being able to bully out GBM, the big carry on the side of NRG, that's step 1 to victory against this team.
Right, I mean, sorry, you go for it.
Keen played extremely flawlessly the entire game. It was a long, stressful, high-tension game, and he showed no signs of weakness, and I think it was just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, everyone on his team died but him, and he also had the monster turn in that fight that really gave them their early lead, that let them control most of that game, and the early Zhonya's pickup was just super intelligent.
Yeah, deathless game for him will feel good moving into game 2. We're headed for a break, but when we return, we'll see if Apex can take game 2 and close out the series, or if NRG will force a game 3. The NA LCS returns right after this.